The final section in our initial assessment form, section 3, is a good example of how we can use question lists. So as you can see, we have a bunch of numeric questions, which instead of having each question on a separate page or a separate screen, we can put all of these questions as one long list so they can quickly enter the data. So how do we do that? Let's go back to our form. Again, I'm just going to collapse all. I'm going to select this last section, access to health, and we're going to create a new section. Remember, it's section 3. So this doesn't fall in access to health, it's its own separate section. So this section is called structure and capacity. Just going to copy paste it and then just make sure that the question ID is spelled correctly. Okay, and within structure and capacity then, I'm going to insert a question list. So what do we call this question list? Well, it's all referring to number of rooms, more or less. So let's call it that. And then let's start adding the questions. So these are all integers, because obviously we don't have half a room. So I just say patient registration rooms. And I'm not going to make it required, and there's no display or validation logic here. Second one is consultation rooms, and so on and so forth. So I've gone ahead and added the rest of the number questions, which again will all show up in one screen. And I've also added this extra bit here. And that relates to this other question. So what they want here is that if there's another room or a department, that you specify, well, first, what is the name of that room or department, and then give, again, the number that there are. So first, what we do is we say, do we want to add another room? Yes or no. And then because we have two questions, we want to group them. So that we know that these two questions belong together. So I have a group called other room or department. And again, it's also easier because we only have to do one display condition instead of two display conditions. And then I have the question ID name. And then here spelled out in the display text. So here they enter the name of the room and department. And then here we have the number. And what I've done here is I want to display I want this to read, so let's say we enter X-ray, right? That's their example. So we enter X-ray here. What I want it to display is I want to say number of X-ray. So I can do that by dragging this text question into the display text. And so now it's going to read number of whatever we fill out here in this first question. And I'm just going to make this required so that they have to fill it out. And that's it. And this is what it looks like in CommCare itself. So we have number of rooms up here, and then each of the numeric questions. Instead of them, all being on separate screens, we can now quickly ask and enter this data. And then here we have our add other room question. If we press no, we can just submit the form. If we select yes, then we need to enter the name of the department or room. So I'm going to say X-ray, and then we see here number of X-ray 1.